Today we're going to be talking about this mini Haze RDA by VHO Origins. First things first, we got to go over the price point. Okay, the shop that sent this to me to review for you guys is selling it for $119.99. So if you're the type of vapor, you're looking for a 22mm dripper like this one with a reduced chamber, you're looking for something that has a plethora amount of airflow options, adjustable airflow, made specifically for dual coils, you're a dually type of vapor, you're looking for something that has a lot of space on the deck, a lot of space, and it's got a 4-terminal connection set up on the deck, this device may be for you. Before I give you guys a tour of this mini Haze, I want to go ahead and do a little vape session. I've got this mini Haze sitting on this IPV Mini 2, vaping at 43.5 watts, but the build I have in here is a dual macro coil 0.3 ohm using 24 gauge Kanthal. Like I said, I'm vaping at 43.5 watts. Here we go. Whew. So with that vape right there, okay, I had the airflow set about a quarter of a way open on each side, and I tell you what, the flavor is a boinking, baby. Top notch for a dual coil RDA. Like I said, I keep going back to this device for a reason, because the flavor is just in your face. The airflow is nice. It's a nice draw, nice perfect draw, for me at least. You've got options. You can open her up all the way. You can close her down. And now I'm going to take her halfway open. I'm going to bump up the wattage. I'm going to bump it up to 55 watts halfway open on each side. A plethora of airflow options. I'll show you in the close-ups what I'm talking about, but you can set it to where it hits the bottom of the coil. Okay, if you have the coil set the way you want it to on the deck, and I have mine set just right above where the screws are, the connection screws, and because of that, I can set it to where the airflow hits just the bottom of the coil, or it hits both the bottom and the top of the coil. Right now I've got it set to where it's hitting both the bottom and the top of the coil, and oh man, oh man, oh man, nice full-on thick flavor, but at the same time I'm getting a good amount of airflow. I gotta hit that again because that was just damn good. The vapor is a rocking, and she's throwing out the flavor. Throwing it out! So now what I've done is I bumped her up to 70 watts, got the airflow wide open on each side. Here we go. So now that you guys saw her fog it up a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and take you guys on an up-close tour of this bad girl, this mini Haze. We're going to talk more about some pros, go over more specs, and we're going to come back. I'm going to talk about a couple cons, then we'll wrap the sucker up and I'll let you know where you can get one. Here is the baggie this mini Haze RDA comes in. VHO Origins, they are the manufacturers of this bad boy. Oh yeah, and also this number you see right here, this is your serial number, or my serial number, but if you get one of these, you're going to have like a little sticker down here with a number, and that will be your serial number. And the first thing that I'm going to be pulling out of this baggie is VHO Origins' version of their own certificate of authenticity. The next thing I'm going to be pulling out is the mini Haze RDA. And then lastly, we got a baggie full of goodies, okay? Ooh, look at this. You get an extra top cap, an extra wide bore top cap, which we'll get into, a Delrin wide bore top cap. You get some extra O-rings, and you even got some extra screws down here. So here's the mini Haze RDA. Got some specs for you. First of all, this thing is a 22mm dripper, 17mm in height without the drip tip. With the drip tip, it's 28.5mm in height. And also, she is primarily made of 304 grade stainless steel. As you guys can see, engraved on the barrel, it says Mini Haze. Underneath that, VHO Origins, the guys that make this, and then you got your serial number at the top. My serial number, 245. On one side of the outer barrel, you got two slots, one that's thicker at the bottom and one that's thinner at the top, and then on the other side, you have the exact same thing, two slots, a thicker and then a thinner. Here's the top portion of this RDA, okay? The top cap and the drip tip are all one piece, and then you got this plastic sleeve that goes over the drip tip, which is heat resistant. And I gotta tell you, she's a wide bore, that drip tip, a wide bore, 9mm in diameter. But back to the adjustable airflow, okay? You got these two slots on either side of this barrel, and how it works is you turn the drip tip and it adjusts the airflow. But the way I have it set up now, wide open, the airflow is hitting underneath the coil and above the coil. It's splitting it, baby, splitting it. I like it like this, but I'm going to go ahead and adjust it just like this. Turn that drip tip, close her off, close her off, close her off, close her off. I've liked her about right there, but you can open her up and get a plethora amount of airflow, baby. So if I close her off, close her off, close her off, let's say halfway, it's the exact same on the other side. Or you can set it up to where if you keep turning it, it just opens up the airflow on the bottom slot and closes it off at the top, and it's the exact same on both sides. Now I can close that off, close that off, close that off, close that off. Exact same on the other side. And that's the adjustable airflow for you. Pop this sucker out. And there she is right there, all one piece, drip tip slash top cap. Okay, you got single O-ring, a single O-ring up top, and then you got four slots on this sucker. Okay, two parallel that are deep slots to open her up wide open. Those two slots on the outside of the barrel, that's what I'm talking about. And then you got two slots, two shallow slots that are parallel to each other, and that's to open her up or close her off at the top and just leave her open at the bottom on the outer barrel like I just showed you. So yeah, that's how it works. That's what this sucker looks like. Here's the inside. And while we're here, we might as well go over the tolerances for this device. The way this top cap fits into the barrel, I mean, I'm loving the tolerances. Love it. Boom, fits just like that. It's nice and restrictive. You get a nice restrictive turn. It's not going to spin freely is what I'm saying. Easy to adjust. It's just tight enough. It's not going anywhere. Now here's the wide bore Delrin drip tip slash top cap. Okay, the bore is 11 millimeters in diameter. Super wide for those cloud chasers. And what makes this thing different than the stainless steel top cap is you only have two slots on it. Two slots. You still have that single O-ring. Here's a tour of the bottom. Pop her in there. Tolerances are great. You can leave her wide open on each side, or you can turn her, close off the top, leave the bottom open on each side. Hit the bottom of those coils. Okay, now here's the barrel. Pretty self-explanatory. You guys already saw it, but here she is by herself. Alrighty, so here's the deck, and as you guys can see, I've got a dual build in here, dual macro build using 24 gauge Canthal. It's the same one I had in FaceTime, reading at 0.3 ohms. So here's the deck section without the builds installed. You got a single O-ring down here, fat O-ring to seal on the barrel, to seal in the juice. Another pro for this device, okay, the tolerances, the way this barrel fits on the deck lip with this single fat O-ring, they're great, okay? I've never had any issues with it leaking, never had any issues with it just falling off, grabbing it. I mean, yeah, like I said, tolerances are really good. Okay, and as you guys can see, there is a 4-terminal connection design. You got the two negative posts. All the posts are square, by the way, but the two negative posts are milled into the deck, and then the two positive posts. Okay, it's a positive post block type of design. It's square, and you don't have to worry about it ever spinning. That's another big pro. The guys that like to use the thicker gauge wire, the 22, the 20 gauge, and I've used them, and they fit perfect, but you don't have to worry about the positive post ever spinning. Okay, and it also uses the peak insulator, which is a must with these RDAs, any RDAs nowadays. And then the post holes for the posts are about 1.8 millimeters in diameter. And like I said, I've been able to use 20 gauge, 22 gauge, 24 gauge with ease. It uses Phillips head screws to make a connection with all your leads, okay? And another pro, I never had the leads snap on me. Look how much space you have on that deck. I mean, tons of space. It just makes it so convenient to do your builds. Another thing I like is the juice well. The juice well's not that deep, but you know what? You don't need a deep juice well when you got all this space and you're doing big ass macro, super macro coil builds like this thing's designed for. You can use a ton of cotton in here, and you don't have to worry about juice leaking out of the side of the barrel, out of those air holes, because that cotton will soak up all the juice. Here's the base of this deck. You got a stainless steel pin, and it's not adjustable. The 510 pin is not adjustable. Threads are buttery smooth. Like I said, it fits on all my devices, compatible with all my devices. As far as the machining, quality control, okay, I got to give you a good 7.5 out of a 10. As far as machine oil, there was hardly any on there. I mean, there was a little bit on there, just like your average devices, but one rinse, one wash, and this thing was good to go. So that right there is the Mini Haze RDA. Let's go ahead and take her back to FaceTime, wrap this sucker up, and let you guys know where you can get one of these bad boys. Alright, so I found a couple cons for this device. One, the pin, okay, the 510 pin, the stainless steel pin, it is not adjustable. Another con for this device, and this is going to be a subjective con, but this thing does not have a single coil option. Oh, you got to give those single coilers some love, Vape Head Origins. And the last con I found for this device is price point, $119.99. I mean, that's steep for an RDA nowadays. Like I said, below $100 is good in my book, so anything above that and I'm going to question it. The vape shop that sent this bad boy to me to review for you guys is a shop by the name of Vape Happy, bvapehappy.com, bvapehappy.com. I'll have a link in the description, okay? They're selling this thing for $119.99. Originally, the original asking price, and you'll see it on their site, is $129.99. Jeez Louise, man. Kid, this expensive. But yeah, the big answer, the big question of today, if I lost this thing today, would I go out tomorrow and buy one? And the answer is probably not. As much as I love this thing, I wouldn't do it because it's above $100. Now, if it was below $100, I would definitely do it. Even if it was $99.99, I would buy it. I'd go out and buy another one if I lost it. This is Rip Trippers, and remember, smoking is dead, vaping is the future, and the future is now.